You're a longtime holder of the stock, Ross. I have to ask you then, does this news on Nvidia and what China has been urging or at least stressing to its companies, does that change anything in your eyes?
Not really, and I guess you gave away I'm not that young either, because it's been a 15-year journey with Nvidia, and the issues with China are legitimate because the chip that they're selling in China is inferior to what the rest of the world and what America is buying, and it's substantially inferior. So there's a lot of risk of building a lot of systems around the chip when really it's not the best technology. So it's almost like ceding a lesser position in AI to your competitors. So I'm not sure how the chip will do, but it's better than not being able to sell it at all, which was the position we were in not too recently.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually if one of the theoretical experiments a few weeks back was if Nvidia lost the Chinese market, does the bull case still hold up? I'll put that question to you, Ross.
Well, yes, it does, but no, in the sense of obviously China will be a formidable investor in AI as everybody is, and where their dollars will go and how their systems will be built and how compatible they are with other systems are going to be determined now by the foundations of the data centers that are going to be built. So quite frankly, from my perspective, you want the absolute best, top of the line AI chips. You want to do kind of what Elon's doing, and that's Nvidia, and there's no way around Nvidia at the moment. And so China's in kind of a pickle. So it's, do I buy the lesser chips and get going now, or do I try to get them Blackwell some other way? So this is a strategic advantage the United States has in technology, which is what we've always had, and why I've always been a technology investor in the United States.
Ross, Nvidia does report earnings on August 27th, about 2 weeks from now. What are you expecting this time around?
Well, it should be another good quarter if you look at Meta and all the other companies ramping up spending on data centers. We're kind of in this core stage. We've been looking at a lot of AI opportunities because that's what we see as an opportunity and also what clients want. And the truth is we're so early in this process that you don't want to get ahead of yourselves. We really have not even the power to build the compute necessary to really build the systems that people envision for the future, including robotics. So this is really a great position for Nvidia to be in, and certainly if there's more innovation from other chip makers, there's certainly lots of opportunities. We also are second positions in Broadcom in my fund GK, and so really it's a great time to be in the data center building business, and many of the sub players in that, including in energy.
Ross, certainly the concerns over the valuation are always almost a feature here when you talk about Nvidia the last few years or so. How useful is it to look at 1 year forward PE, or do we need to be looking beyond that and looking how that curve looks, just trying to understand what how long this runway really is?
Yeah, we tend to, being an investor in Nvidia for so long, it's traded around 40 to 45 PE for most of its existence. So, you don't get too many opportunities under that number. What I'm kind of amazed at is it still trades at that multiple when you have other stocks in a very frothy market trading at quite, a lot of stocks are trading at 100 times earnings, and they're growth stories, but the premiums now are extreme in the markets, and yet Nvidia, which is the best story in the market with the best CEO in the market, for some reason is still at, I'd say, a market multiple for big cap tech. So, it's hard not to like Nvidia. It's our biggest position, and it just keeps growing. And I'm loath to sell it, even though we're wildly overweight in certain client accounts, especially these early investors that did get in that early, because I'm a gamer, and that's the roots of Nvidia's business. And I was fortunate to be a gamer and figure out Nvidia 15 years ago, and then being in autonomy. So knowing what I know about autonomy and how that's growing so exponentially, and then cryptocurrencies, which is also GPU-based driven systems. So like almost everything is right for this company, and investors need to own it.